Well, I train martial arts and I'll beat people into a bloody pulp in a ring. So I guess
By consent.
Yeah, of course.
They consent to it.
Sure, yeah.
But the animals that you pay to be sent into slaughterhouses aren't consenting to that.
It is implicit in the nature of existence that you will be killed and eaten at some point. When you go into the ground, worms are going to eat you.
Absolutely.
Like, it is a part
But does that give me a right to shoot you in the head right now because you're going to die eventually?
You need to stop bringing up rights in conjunction with natural orders.
I'm not.
Well, you just said
No,
it.
you did.
No, you did.
No, you said it's okay to do it to animals because that's what happens in nature.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that to humans, so I'd say it's contradictory to say it's okay to do that to animals.
If the circumstances required it, I would kill people.
You would?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, who have we got here? What's your name, brother?
Nat Kel.
Nakel. I'm Jack. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being part of this interview. So I have a question for you. I just want to know, is it okay not to be a vegan?
Is it okay not to be a vegan? You mean ethically speaking?
Ethically speaking.
Absolutely.
Can you describe why it's okay to, for example, exploit, abuse, murder animals?
The question that you've phrased is it okay to exploit and abuse animals? That's different to, is it ethical to eat meat? So there's two different questions that you're asking me there.
Okay. Well, I guess I was kind of leading on from that question. You said it is okay to... It is ethical to not be vegan, right?
Correct,
and veganism is about ending animal exploitation. So that's why I was kind of just going on into the definition of veganism. Okay, we can go on then. Just we're starting out with that first question.
Yeah.
Is it ethical not to be vegan, and explain why?
Yeah, sure. So I think that ethics and morality are human constructs, and I think that we exist in the natural world, and I think that in the natural world you can put on your external ethics and moralities as a framework, and if that's how you want to approach the world and how you want to exist and how you want to live, that's fine for the individual. But as a system, as something that exists independent of humans, the natural world is life feeding on life in various forms. There's almost no creatures that don't feed on life in some way, shape or form. Except
herbivorous animals, obviously.
Yeah, but they're still eating things that are alive, right? So life feeds on life.
Sentient. Veganism is about sentience. So
Sure,
a tree is alive, but they're not sentient. They don't. They don't have a conscious experience. They don't experience pain and suffering. Don't have a central nervous system.
Absolutely.
So in terms of sentient animals, right?
Sure.
So
well, now we're getting more and more nitty gritty, right?
Oh, that's just veganism. Sentient.
Yeah, I know. But you asked me the question: is it ethical and moral to not be vegan? And I said yes, and you said explain your position.
Yep.
And so I would say that in the natural world, life feeds on life, and that is the natural way that the world works.
I agree with that.
Yep.
But we're not talking about just life, we're talking about sentient life.
You can ask that question. You can say, what do you think about eating sentient creatures?
Well, that's veganism.
Well,
veganism is about sentient animals.
I think that's perhaps your interpretation of what veganism is.
No. So veganism, essentially, could really, if we wanted to boil it down, it's about giving... so we respect humans' rights to life, so it's just about extending those rights to animals. Sure. I guess I could phrase it that way then. Do you think humans deserve the right to life, to not be exploited, abused and killed?
I don't think that's a natural given right. No, I think that's a right that we have decided is ethical and valuable to pursue. And I agree with that.
And that's all I was meaning.
Sure. Yeah. Well, can I ask you, if it's about sentience, do you think it's appropriate to eat bicuspid valve things that don't have sentience? Would you eat them?
It's definitely up for debate onto whether they're sentient. I am actually now leaning based on the evidence that they might not be sentient. And if they're not sentient, well then I don't really mind, because there's no one having a subjective experience there, and they're not a someone, they're a something at that point.
Yeah.
I'm kind of erring on caution.
Yeah.
But technically, I'm kind of getting to the position where I say they're not sentient.
Yeah. See, I respect the position of vegans and vegetarians that like to protect the sovereignty of the individual that has consciousness and has a subjective experience of the world. You want to reduce the total suffering in the world. That is a very bulletproof position to hold. I think it's really great, and I respect
suffering
that.
Comes into it, but it's not actually about suffering.
Right.
It's actually about exploitation, so exploiting somebody, enslaving somebody, and then eventually killing them for your personal choice.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I want to come back to the human rights, because then that way we can kind of get onto animal rights. So human rights, you would say it is important to uphold human rights. So it's something that humans have created. I agree with that.
I would say that's not a natural right. I would say that that's something that most humans have decided is a good thing to do.
And why have we decided that?
Because to reduce the total amount of suffering is a nice thing to do.
Absolutely. So why don't we just extend that to animals?
Because the natural world is inclusive of experiences like suffering, to say no to a part of the natural world and a part of reality, I feel is not congruent with existence.
But that's not congruent with human rights. So just because something bad happens in nature, does that give me the right to treat you poorly?
What we need to distinguish between rights, which are a human construct, and the natural order of things, which is inclusive of death, suffering.
So what do you follow? Do you not exploit another human being because you respect their right? Or do you go by natural law and say it's okay to kill them if you're hungry?
Well, I train martial arts and I'll beat people into a bloody pulp in a ring, so I guess that's...
By consent?
Yeah, of course.
They consent to it?
Sure, yeah.
But the animals that you pay to be sent into slaughterhouses aren't consenting to that?
Yeah, well, let me premise what I'm saying with the position that I should state outright that I think that factory farming is an ethical nightmare that we need to fix. I'm not pro-factory farming. I don't like the idea of an entire life of suffering and no opportunity to live a complete existence. But in nature, living a complete existence includes being killed and eaten by something else. That is the...
You're a part of nature too.
That's right.
But would you be okay if I chopped your head off right now because that's what happens in nature?
I would get in the water and I would go spearfishing and I would be aware that a shark could eat me, and I wouldn't suggest we cull sharks.
No, I'm saying, would it be okay if I chopped your head off right now? Because that's what would happen in nature.
If I thought that it wasn't okay for sharks to eat people and I wanted to do something about it, I would be pro-shark culling, but I'm not.
No, I was just asking, just that specific question.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I chop your head off to eat you if I'm hungry?
What do you mean by okay? Do you mean am I going to be happy with that?
Just what is your position on that? Based on your beliefs, would it be wrong if I were to do that just because I'm hungry or for some other reason?
Well, do you think it's wrong for a shark to eat a person?
I think it's wrong for the person. I can't really go out and stop the shark. I can't stop the shark. But that's why I'm speaking to humans, because we have a choice.
If you could, would you cull sharks? Would you suggest we cull sharks so they don't eat people?
If we could, without causing... So essentially, if it didn't result in more suffering, more animal rights violations, I would probably say yes.
Yes, to stopping sharks.
If it resulted in less animal rights violations.
Right.
In the same way, if there was some predator specific for humans and they were running around and killing humans,
yeah,
I would say we have a right to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
So I would say it's okay to kill them if there's no other way of legally dealing with it.
Right.
If we could send them to jail and keep them away from humans, that would be preferable. But in the case of sharks, a legal system really isn't going to work here. Should we do everything else we can to prevent them from killing others? I just don't think that's practically possible. So technically, from a ethical standpoint, I'd say it's okay to do that. Practically, I don't know if we can go out and kill all the sharks.
Well,
but
I respect that you are consistently ethical in your approach, and that you would straight up say, I would prefer it if sharks didn't exist as a part of an apex predator scenario. I respect that.
But I think I think potentially it could disrupt the ecosystem so much that it could result in more suffering, so I might not be for it. I don't have a strict position on that. That was just kind of my framework. If I were to be consistent without causing more rights violations, that's what I would do.
Yeah,
so coming back to that question,
is
it okay if I kill you?
You've answered my question about sharks, so I should answer your question about whether or not it's okay for you to kill me. I don't think it comes down to a matter of okay as in an ethical framework. I think it's more like if we were two beings out in nature and you decided that you wanted to attack me and kill me for food, even though you're a member of my own species, I would be like, damn, that's a bad way to go out, but it is what it is, and I'm probably going to attack something else and kill it. So
in a situation where it might be for survival, it might be a little fucked up. It might have to happen for my survival. But even in that scenario, would it be okay if I did that to you?
I don't know how to answer the question about okay. I wouldn't want that to happen, but would I be supportive of a system that...
Would I be violating your rights? Sorry, that's...
No, because I think that rights exist independently. Rights are like money, right? Money doesn't really... Money doesn't really exist, right? It only exists because we say it does. Rights are just like that. Yeah. And so do you want to construct those rights and live by those rights? Is that going to improve the subjective experience of all creatures? Perhaps, but I'm very wary of humans who have over and over again set to impose the way they think the world should be on nature and watch the disastrous results of that. It's never worked in the past, and I can't see it working in the future.
When I'm talking about rights, I'm talking about the most basic rights. The rights not to be exploited and killed, especially if we don't have to be doing it even in the first place. I wouldn't even say, even if we had to do it for survival, it wouldn't be okay. If there was a hungry person right here that couldn't afford to go to a grocery store and their only option was to kill and eat you. That's for survival. I would still say that's wrong. To me, I would say it's not right. Whether we say legal rights or not, you just deserve to not be exploited and abused because...
Why deserve?
Well, I mean, fundamentally, I think that your life is more valuable than their hunger. We could figure out other ways to do it, but I'm just saying that would still be murder in my eyes.
I feel like...
I guess what I want to go on from there, is it murder and exploitation? Is it wrong to be doing it to animals that you force into slaughterhouse, knowing you don't have to be consuming them as well?
Is it murder? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Is murder a part of the natural world, and it happens hundreds of thousands of times a day, over and over and over again, and has done forever? Yes.
Is that a justification? Just because something bad happens in nature, does it justify us doing it here in society?
It's not a moral or an ethical justification. It's an observation of reality.
It is an observation. Yeah. But I'm asking you, just because something bad happens in nature, animals rape one another, they kill each other's babies, blah, blah, blah. They kill one another all the time. Yeah. Just because it happens in nature, is that something that we should abide by in our society?
I think as a part of the natural world, it's dangerous to set yourself apart from the natural world and assume that your constructed frameworks are going to be more effective or more beneficial in the long run than what nature has established over millennia.
Yeah, but still the same question.
So that
because something's been happening millennia, but would you say it's okay to do it to humans?
I'm saying no. Putting our ethical, moral frameworks on the natural world is not a good thing to do. So is it a good idea to be vegan on a global scale, and would that improve the quality of existence for all creatures? No, I don't believe so.
Why don't you believe that?
Because the natural order is
what
the way it is. What do I think would happen?
Yeah, what would be the detriment?
I think the consequences are almost impossible to calculate, but what I would say is the Chesterton's fence argument, which is that if you don't know why things are the way they are, don't have the arrogance to think that you can change them and make them better until you understand the system in its totality, which we're not particularly capable of doing.
So you prefer natural law even over saying protecting your right?
Well, natural
because humans would die in nature. So
natural law is kind of like a, what do you call it, an oxymoron. There is no law in nature, but I'm not trying to trip you up. I'm literally trying to distinguish between the constructs of humans versus the natural order. And I prefer to default to the natural order. So like when my kids were really little and everyone wanted to put shoes on them, I was like, are we evolved to wear shoes? Does that help us or hinder us in some way? Sure, it reduces the potential for harm, but is it going to cause more harm later? Are they going to have knee issues? Are they going to have foot development issues? So anytime I have a question about whether or not I should or shouldn't do something, I defer to the natural way of...
Even if that results in harming somebody else.
Yeah, so like I let my kids run around bare feet knowing that they could cut their feet on
No, but harming someone else. Like, let's say, just in the case of veganism, let's say your kids running around with bare feet resulted in someone else being murdered. Would you still say it's okay to do it just because it might be natural?
Yeah.
It's okay to run around barefoot in a hypothetical where it results in someone being murdered?
Yeah, because murder is basically a given in the natural world.
Knowing you could prevent that.
Well, why? Who am I? What arrogance do I have to change the natural order of things?
I'm not saying to change the natural order of things. I'm just trying to abide by what might be right or wrong for the victim, their perspective. Like you would say it's wrong for me to go and shoot another human in the head or kill another human to eat them because animals eat one another in nature. So what is the substantial difference between us and non-human animals that makes it okay to kill and eat them but not other humans?
I think that if you conceptualize yourself as a part of the natural order, you would be okay with being attacked by a shark on some kind of ethical or moral level because that's what sharks do. You wouldn't suggest that we kill sharks, right? And you can extend that understanding to the rest of the food chain, which
that wasn't my position originally. It was whether it results in more rights violations.
Clarify your position. I'm getting.
Well, no. I just wanted to ask a question. So, what is the substantial difference between us and animals?
I don't think there is one.
So there isn't one. So what justification do you have to send animals into slaughterhouses but not humans?
Because animals being slaughtered for food is a part of the natural world.
Humans too?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So that's a contradiction?
If a human got attacked by a bear and got eaten, I would not suggest we go out and kill bears. If a human got attacked by a shark, I would not suggest we go out and kill sharks. Tigers attack humans, lions. Doesn't matter. Give me an example of a natural creature that comes in and kills a human. I wouldn't be like, shit, damn, we've got to go out and kill
But we should at least try to prevent them from doing more. Like if we can just remove them from, say it happened in a nearby bush, in the city, you'll just say, well, okay, they killed another human.
Yeah.
If we can just get rid of them and prevent them from...
But I wouldn't want to get rid of them.
No, not kill them. I'm just saying remove them from... If there was a bear roaming through here or a lion roaming through here and you know they're going to kill humans,
Yeah.
you might just find a way to remove them without violence, I would assume. Because you don't want them to go around killing humans, right?
No, of course not. You want to protect your own interests and the creatures that
And the interests of other people that might become victors.
Yeah. And the creatures that I would say fish for or hunt for, if they get away, I don't like throw my gear down and get angry at the world and feel like, they've violated my right not to eat them. I just go like, damn, good job, you got away.
Okay. Coming back to it, so you say there's no real substantial difference to why we would mistreat animals, but treat well humans.
There's no substantial difference between us and animals. We are animals.
Yeah, I agree. There's just no justifiable difference to send one into a slaughterhouse but not humans. Well, what your justification is because that's what happens in nature.
Yeah,
I know we're going around in a circle.
I feel like we're going around in circles. Like basically my position is that animals eat animals. Life feeds on life. Some things are herbivores, some things are carnivores, some things are omnivores. Humans are omnivores. We're a part of the food chain.
Meaning we have the option to choose one or the other. Yep. We could be vegan if we want to like
We could. Yeah, we could.
Yes.
And if you choose to be vegan, I applaud your ethics and morals, and I'm happy for you to live the way that you want to live. But also, when I have the option to default towards the way nature and I interact, like if I can be barefoot, I will be.
Yeah.
If I can eat fish and kangaroos and things that I've hunted and shot myself, I would do that.
So why not just give them the right to life as you would to another human, knowing you don't even have to be killing and eating them in the first place? You could eat a non-sentient thing that doesn't involve exploitation and murder.
Because I think rights are not fixed things. I think...
No, but we grant them, right? We grant them to humans knowing that their right to life is more valuable than our right to get pleasure out of harming them, and using them, enslaving them. So it's just about granting that same right to animals. And if you don't, if there's no substantial difference, and that's a contradiction. And if you're only going to appeal to nature, that's appeal to nature fallacy, and you're contradicting what you're saying here. You're saying it's wrong to do it to humans, but it's okay to do it to animals because it happens in nature.
I didn't say it's wrong to do it to humans. I said that if...
so it would be okay to send a human into a slaughterhouse?
No, I said if an apex predator ate a human, I would not think that those apex predators should be destroyed.
But you would want to protect the victim's rights still. Would you just let an apex predator run through society killing as many people as possible and not do anything about it?
No, it's not implicit in the statement that we should allow it to happen. It's that if you get caught by a shark in the ocean and it eats you, damn, that sucks. But it's not implicit in that scenario that sharks should be destroyed or humans shouldn't be in the ocean.
But is it wrong for the victim?
Of existence.
Is it I know, it might happen and you might not be able to stop it in the future. But from the victim's position... it's not right for them. It's not okay for them. They would prefer to live. And if we could stop it, that would be preferable.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between personal preference and a system of rights, isn't there?
Yeah, we grant rights.
Yeah.
And if we can prevent someone's rights being violated, another human, you wouldn't personally... do you think it's okay, just ethically speaking, to force humans into a slaughterhouse for food? Yes or no?
If force humans into a slaughterhouse...
You say no. I'm asking an easy question.
Class the ocean as a slaughterhouse?
No, I'm just asking slaughterhouses that we pay for animals to go into every day. Would it be okay to put a human in one of those?
I've already said that I think factory farming is unethical.
But even if they're grass-fed and pasture-raised, they still go to a slaughterhouse. Or if you just shoot them in the backyard, would it be okay to do that to a human?
I think that the scenario you're painting is a very niche, unique scenario.
No, it's just simple. I'm just saying what we do to animals, would it be okay to do that to humans?
Well... do I think it's okay for animals to eat animals? We are animals, so yes, I think that's okay.
It would be okay to do that to humans, what we do to animals?
Well, I don't think that the question you're asking me is particularly useful on a broad scale because you're asking for a niche circumstance.
No, just what we do to animals. So when you go to any grocery store and you see animal products there, those animals had to go to a slaughterhouse, or you could say it was even done in the backyard. Okay, so would it be okay to do that to humans? Would it be okay to put human flesh in the grocery store?
So here's the fallacy that you've pointed out to me, and the fallacy is that I don't agree with factory farming. Yeah. So do I think we should put humans into factory farming? No. And I don't agree with factory farming.
Any way of killing an animal? Non-factory farming. Would it be okay to do that to humans for food?
If I hunt an animal, I think that is okay. And if a shark or a bear or something hunts a human, I think that's okay too. I wouldn't want to be in that
Would it be
position.
okay to do what humans do to animals to do that to humans?
In terms of hunting and eating?
Just eating them and killing them. Would it be okay to do that to humans?
Humans to kill and eat humans?
Yes.
I think...
Or would you want to respect their right?
Well, like I said, rights is...
We grant them, yes.
I grant
Would you rather...
I wouldn't want to hunt and eat humans. No.
Not whether you would want to. Is it okay to kill humans, specifically when we're not even in a survival situation?
Okay, so we know that there are tribes that still exist that eat humans, right?
Yeah.
Like there are hill tribes in Papua New Guinea still in existence that eat humans. Do you think we should go in there and wipe those hill tribes out?
No, if we could go in there and find ways for them to survive without having to kill other humans, I'll say that's right from the victim's position.
I don't think.
But I'm not talking about that anymore. I'm talking about you.
I don't think they're eating humans because they need it to survive. I think they're eating humans because it's a cultural practice.
Well, I'll say it's wrong. I would say it's fucked up. That's my position.
So would you go in there and say we need to stop your?
If we can stop it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If we could stop it and they resist that, well, then I'd say I think we have a right to physically try to prevent them from doing that. Because I say it's wrong from the victim's position. But I just want to come back to it. Is it okay, like when you go to a grocery store or any other farm in Australia or any Western, just any way of that we kill animals for food, is it okay to do that to humans? And I'm assuming you said no, it would be wrong.
I wouldn't want to eat humans.
No, not what you would want to do. Just is it okay to be doing that to them from the victim's position? You
mean okay on like some broad scale ethical?
We can kind of limit it down to if you have the option not to do it as well. Like you could just live vegan.
Personally, I wouldn't. But you're asking ethically, as in like a broad scale system?
Your system of ethics, would it be wrong to systematically breed humans into life or go out and hunt humans just because you want to eat them knowing you could be vegan instead?
I think that factory farming is wrong, and so factory farming
just in general
would be wrong.
Not factory farming. Just going out hunting and killing and just killing humans.
Well, I know that there are hill tribes that do that, and I don't want them wiped out.
I'm not saying we have to go wipe them out. Whether we do something about it, I'm just saying, is it wrong from the victim's position?
The victim wouldn't like it, no.
No, it's all right. So why don't you do that to animals?
Because it's a part of the natural world in the same way.
So that's a contradiction.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you did. You just said it would be wrong for humans, but it's okay for animals because it's a part of nature. It would be part of nature for me to do that to you, but you just said that would be wrong.
I've just given you so many examples of humans being eaten by other creatures that I've said is fine.
It's part of nature.
So that's not a contradiction.
Well, that is a contradiction. If you say it's fine just for humans to be killed for food and then it's okay for animals to do it to us, there was a lion roaming through here right now.
What I said was that there are hill tribes in Papua New Guinea that do that, and I would not want those hill tribes wiped out. So that's an implicit acceptance of what they do. Okay. I wouldn't want to be in that position, but that's a part of what they do, and I think that we don't want to steamroll and make everything flat into what we think the world should be. I think that homogeneity is a sad thing for the world to experience.
My question was specifically if you have the option not to do it as well. Now, I would still say it's wrong in those tribes to do as well because I'm thinking about the victims and knowing that they don't have to be killing other humans. I would say it's fucked up. Even if they had to, I'd still say it's fucked up from the victim's position. I'm talking about you.
What about if they believe...
I don't really care about their beliefs. Beliefs isn't a good justification to murder somebody. Just because I believe it's okay to murder you, I still think that you deserve the right.
Your interpretation of rights is based on beliefs.
Yeah, what we call, ethically speaking.
Yeah,
ethically and logically speaking, I think we should grant humans rights.
So you have a belief system and they have a belief system and you're saying my belief system is better and I would support wiping them out because my belief system is better.
I would just say that their pleasure that they get from killing humans does not outweigh someone's entire life to exist. In the same way, it wouldn't be okay for me to do that to you.
But you do understand that there is like an implicit arrogance in saying that my belief system is better than someone else's?
I'm not saying it's better. I'm just thinking from the victim's position. The victims that they're killing, I would say they would prefer not to be murdered, especially if they don't have to be murdered. Okay. So I would go and protect the victims.
Do you feel like we've reached consensus or at least understanding on your core points?
What's that?
Well, all the questions you've asked me, do you think I've answered them?
You have, and I would say that you've contradicted yourself.
Okay, well, you can go back over the footage and have a look.
I will. And the reason I would say you've contradicted yourself is that it's wrong, like especially in our society. If we would keep it like really strict to what we're doing right now in our society, it would be wrong to systematically farm and even go and hunt other humans for food, knowing you don't have to be doing that. You could live vegan. So I would say if you think it's okay to do it to animals because that's what happens in nature, I would say it's a contradiction.
I think it's okay for animals to do it to us. I think it's okay for us to do it to animals. And I think that the natural world...
Well, so you're saying because they're not really reciprocating?
No, I'm saying that as a part of the natural world, it is implicit in the nature of existence that you will be killed and eaten at some point. When you go into the ground, worms are going to eat you.
Absolutely.
Like, is a part
but does that give me a right to shoot you in the head right now because you're going to die eventually?
You need to stop bringing up rights in conjunction with natural orders.
I'm not.
Well, you just said
you did.
No, you did.
No, you said it's okay to do it to animals because that's what happens in nature.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about nature.
I'm saying
you're bringing other nature.
Humans are a part of nature, and that when you remove yourself from the natural order and put yourself on a pedestal and say my artificially constructed belief systems have primacy over the natural order, that is a level of arrogance which results in chaos in the natural world. It has done.
I'm saying it would.
forever.
No, I'm not saying whether or not it creates chaos. I'm just saying from the victim's position, it's wrong to murder.
Speak from the victim's position.
Sentient animals have a preference to survive. That's how we are sentient, because we have a preference to survive.
Yeah.
I'd say it's wrong to kill them, especially when we don't have to be doing that. And I'm talking specifically when you go to a grocery store or you go hunting, you don't have to be doing that, and you're ending someone's life, and you wouldn't do that to humans. So I'd say it's contradictory to say it's okay to do that to animals.
I would, if the circumstances required it, I would kill people.
You would?
Yeah, absolutely.
If the circumstances, okay. If you needed to.
Let me give you an example.
No, in a survival situation, let's say you can...
This is a real life example that happened to me, okay? A guy was having a psychotic episode.
Yeah.
And he tried to grab my daughter in a playground. Now, I don't know what was going on in his head. I don't think he was an ethically or morally compromised person. I don't think he deserved.
I would agree with
to
you
be
if you did
attacked,
something about it.
Right? But what I did do was I ran up and I pulled him to the ground and I put him into a rear naked choke and I choked him out.
Completely agree with you. I would do the same.
And I don't think
That's okay, because they're violating someone else's rights.
Yeah, but I don't think he was an ethically or morally compromised individual as a person.
Doesn't matter.
I just think that in that circumstance, if I had to kill him to stop him from murdering my daughter, more than happy to do so.
That aligns with veganism, because if you're violating someone's rights, you have a right to prevent them from violating rights. So if that even means violating their rights, absolutely. Self-defense and defense of others.
Yeah.
Now, the animals that you're going out and killing...
Yeah, but I guess I'm just answering the question, is it right to kill people? And I'm saying...
In a circumstance where they're violating someone's rights. Yes. I'm not really talking about that.
Like, you've often in this conversation said yes or no. So in that circumstance, do you believe it's right to murder humans? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. If they're violating someone's rights.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. And I'm talking about when someone isn't violating someone's rights, it's wrong to do that to a human. And if an animal isn't violating someone else's rights, it's wrong to do that to them, especially the farm animals and kangaroos, blah, 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 blah. I think that's completely wrong, knowing you don't have you could do something else instead.
Sure.
Not murder a sentient being.
I'm glad that there's people like you who are passionate and dedicated to making the world a better place. And I feel like I understand your position.
Sure.
And I hope you understand mine.
I do understand.
I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. That was actually really good. I want those conversations. I really appreciate them. If you want to watch it back, because I watched them back, I learned from my conversations, and I hope other people can too.
Yeah.
It will be on my account, Jack Higgs, so JACKHIGGS 269, but it should come up with Jack Higgs. Thank you again. What was your name again, bro?
Nat.
I really appreciate that.
Nice one.
Really do.
Good luck with your interviews.
Thank you, and same to you. I wish I saw your show. No worries, man. Have a good one.